Home on Church Street. 3 children were born in Mexico: Esther Edith, John Christman, and Julia Beth. Julia took sick with intestinal fever and died in colonial Dublin at 29 months. The Mexican Revolution, during the days of Pancho Villa, forced the family to move back to the United States. Because of anti-polygamy laws, the 2 wives needed to live separately. Walter and Fanny moved to Mesa. Later, Walter purchased a little cottage in Thatcher on Church Street for Esther and her 2 living children, Edith and John. Malin Wilson Lewis was born February 19, 1915, in that little cottage, which had a modest kitchen and an outdoor bathroom. This home was located across the street and east 2 lots from the home of Andrew Kimball, state president, where Spencer W. Kimball had grown up as a young boy. It was also directly across the street from the home where Wick's wife, Lynn Molyneux Lewis's family, had lived. At this time in history, a gallon of milk cost 36 cents, a loaf of bread 7 cents, a new auto $500, a new home $4,800, and the average income was $1,076 per year. When Malin was 2 years old, his sister Edith, now 12, was riding in a buggy with a group of girls. She accidentally fell out of the buggy and the back of the wheels ran over her, causing internal injury. She was never well again. On April 18, 1917, Edith died because of complications related to scarlet fever and was buried in the Thatcher Cemetery. 2 years after Edith's death, on June 21, 1919, John Christman, nearly 12, was playing along the canal bank behind his home. He came in and complained that both legs were in pain. He laid down, went into convulsions, and died. This was a tragedy in the life of little Malin, who loved his big brother so dearly. His death had no explanation. Some rumored that apples poisoned with pesticide for worms may have been the cause. This was later determined to be highly unlikely. Years later, Mother Esther recalled that when going out to the privy, the outside potty house, she found a rattlesnake coiled up inside. She went to retrieve a shovel to kill the snake, but it had slithered off into the shrubbery along the canal bank where Johnny was playing. She may have concluded that since both legs were in severe pain, that Johnny had been bitten at least twice. He was buried beside his sister Edith in the Thatcher Cemetery. Benjamin was born in this same home March 15, 1920. During that time, Malin was exposed to whooping cough. Alarmed, Mother Esther did not want to expose baby Benjamin to this sickness, so she sent him across town to live with Bishop Mickelson's other wife for a time. But little Benjamin had already been exposed and was soon filled with congestion. Esther would hold and rock little Benjamin, patting him gently on the back, trying to encourage him to breathe, repeating over and over, "There, there, little Ben, there, there, little Ben." He died in her arms on May 4th, 1920, and was buried beside Esther and John in the Thatcher Cemetery. It was during this time, while little Malin was being raised, without his father present, all alone without siblings or grandparents, that he resolved to have a dozen children, with a determination for all of them to be exposed to the love of grandparents. When Malin was about 5.5 years old, his father, Walter Beers Lewis, sensed that his son needed a father. He was concerned about his wife Esther having gone through great heartaches in losing 4 of her children, her mother and her sister, all this while being alone in Thatcher. He decided to move his family from Thatcher to Mesa. He felt brave in that the federal marshals would not bother them since there were 4 other polygamous families in the area. They attended First Ward, while Walter attended the Second Ward with his first wife. They did this to avoid any suspicion.